What's going on, guys? This is the Red Rogue and I hope you're all doing well today. This is the beginning of a personal journey series thing that I started working on in this last week while I was on vacation. The Back from the Beyond meta achievement that's coming out with patch 9.2.5. This expansion covering meta achievement rewards the Veil Strider title, kinda like the Phenomenal Cosmic Power achievement from BFA which gave Azeroth's champion. Now, I've played a lot during Shadowlands, probably more than I want to admit, but I haven't really delved into the extra features and content that actually came out with the expansion. Things like Covenant Sanctum junk and random Maw achievements and, stuff along those lines, since I spend a majority of my time doing keys or raiding. So I figured I'd put together some guides on things that I'm personally working on and ways to make them easier in case you decide to do the same. For this episode, I'm going to be showing you all the most time-efficient ways to farm a crapload of Genesis motes, since you need to craft 5 things via the Protoform synthesis feature in Zereth Mortis to gain the Synthe-fived achievement, which is part of the A to Zereth meta achievement, which is then of course part of the Back from the Beyond achievement. Yes, we have meta achievements in our meta achievements, yo dog. Synthe-fived counts both pets and mounts crafted via Protoform synthesis, though arguably mounts require more Genesis motes and more time, as well as obscure and sometimes rare extra reagents. That being said, I am way more of a mount collector than a pet collector, so I'm probably still gonna make mounts anyhow, because why not? For pet crafting, you need to learn Dialic Understanding from your Cipher of the First Ones, and for mount crafting, you'll need Sopranian Understanding unlocked. You'll also have little quest chains that you have to do which show you the basics of each of the forms of pet and mount crafting, and you need to unlock at least the pet crafting before Genesis motes, Glimmers and Lattices will drop, which are the main resources in this crafting system. Genesis motes are a bind-on account currency, and drop from basically everything in Zereth Mortis, though at most you'll get like 1 or 2 per thing that you kill if you're lucky. Due to this, it's better to find quick spawning, lower health enemies in large groups when possible. I've found that the most boring, but probably way more efficient way of farming this was just camping the Devourer portals in the Genesis fields, since the Devourers and all that stuff spawn pretty much instantly once you kill them. So basically, you never need to leave your spot, and you can just cleave away mindlessly for hours on end if you want to just farm a ton of motes. An alternative to this method that's slightly more interesting and more engaging, and is probably easier if you're not a very geared character, is the Catalyst Gardens. The sentient overgrowths are those little tiny plants and have a small amount of health and spawn in pretty large groups all around the Catalyst Gardens, though their percent chance of dropping Genesis motes is quite a bit lower than the Devourers I previously mentioned. However, you're going to be killing like 5 or 6 of these at a time, and they're far easier to kill if you have any decent AoE moves, so if you're a little less geared, then this should be a pretty consistent way of farming motes. You'll basically just make a loop around the entire Catalyst Gardens, going in between the water area and the areas around the water, and there should be enough that by the time you get back around, they'll be respawning again. Doing this farm in a group is much more efficient than solo, since everyone can get credit for whatever you're killing in whatever area you're farming mobs, as long as you're within like 30, maybe 40 yards of each other. Then you'll be able to loot whatever they killed, and they'll be able to loot whatever you killed, so you're farming your motes twice as quickly. Even just one other person in your group doing the farm can speed up this mote farming time a lot, so if you know anyone else who is pushing for the Back from the Beyond meta achieve, or just wants to craft more things via the Protoform synthesis in Zereth Mortis, then you can kinda help each other shave a lot of time off of this very grindy achievement. You only need to craft a total of 5 mounts or pets combined via Protoform synthesis. So if you just want to bang this out, then make 5 pets, since all of the ones that you unlock immediately when the Forge opens cost 300 Genesis motes, and are generally pretty easy to get the Lattices and the Glimmers for. The Glimmers that you need mostly come from the animals that are of the same type that you kill around Zereth Mortis, though some can be really obscure or really low chances to get, like the Glimmer of Satisfaction, for example. Generally speaking, any of the pets that cost a small amount of motes compared to others have harder to get Glimmers. So basically try to make the ones that cost 300 motes, since you can get your Glimmers easier, so you'll need 1500 motes total and you're perfectly fine. Also, if you're really impatient, the Lattices that you also require can be bought from players on the auction house, since they're basically the only thing that isn't account bound in synthesis crafting. Speaking of account bound, if you happen to have any alts that you've been dabbling around on, then be sure to check their inventories and send any of your materials you have to one character to craft all this. Like I mentioned earlier, you will not get any synthesis items to drop if you haven't unlocked at least pet crafting via Dialic Understanding, and that counts for every character, so even on your alts. And for the mount-specific items to start dropping, you need to unlock Sopranian Understanding as well, and to do that quest chain too. I hope these tips and tricks for farming Genesis motes help make it a little less time-consuming to craft your Protoform synthesis pets and mounts, which you'll be needing for that Synthe-fived achievement, and to get one small step closer to the Back from the Beyond meta achievement for Shadowlands. If you have any other tips or tricks to share, then feel free to mention them in a comment, and if you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like. As always, my appreciation and gratitude to all of my viewers, and especially my patrons, who all help make these Shiba Shenanigans possible. Thank you all so much for watching. This is the Red Rogue, and I'll see you guys around.